in the process towards achieving something, going somewhere that is meaningful and fulfilling, you will just need to face those fears and those roadblocks. There's just no other way around it. If you want to get from chaos to a state of order again, you just need to go through these stages. If you want to reinvent yourself, if you do not want your career to remain static and boring, and if you do not want to have regrets, then you need to be taking those kinds of risks, like I'm doing right now, right? Yeah. And also remember, this is one really important point, is that in chaos, if you feel like you're in a state of chaos or messiness, that is also where opportunity lies. I don't know if you guys watched Game of Thrones, but if you did, then you might remember Peter Baelish, one character there, saying that chaos is a ladder. So when you're in a situation where things are not going right, where you're frustrated, where you feel down, or even feel that you're at rock bottom, that is actually where the biggest opportunity lies. If you're at rock bottom, there's just no way that you can sink further, right? You're already at the very bottom, and from there it can only go up. So if from there you change your mindset, and instead of sulking, instead of feeling frustrated, you change your mindset and open up your mindset to all the possibilities that exist in the world, all the things that you can do with your career, then really the world is your oyster. I mean, nowadays you really do not have an excuse. I'm sorry to say that so bluntly, but if you do not have a fulfilling career at the end of your life, then you have no one else to blame but yourself. I mean, in the short term, you can always blame external circumstances. In the short term, let's look at 6 months, for example. You can say, okay, my career is not going well because my colleagues suck, my boss suck, or I got laid off, or the economy, or my health, or I don't know, a natural disaster or whatsoever. You can always say those things in the short term, and that is what I call a victim mentality. But I mean, that's life. I mean, sometimes you are a victim in life. But if you look at a longer time horizon, once you look at the medium and long term, then you don't have that excuse any longer. If we look at 1 year or 2 years, there are so many things that you can change. You can put yourself in a different environment. You can change the circumstances. You can try and adopt different ways and methods to improve your life and your career. There is just no excuse anymore. But the way to do it is that you just need to start with something today. Like on my main channel, Multiple Careers, there are so many people who are asking me about career change, like how you actually change careers, like should you study or whatever, what should you do? And my answer is always that you need to start by experimenting. You need to start making an investment to figure out what you want and how you can do it that is low investment and low risk. So if you want to change careers to something drastically different, it doesn't mean that, okay, I have this hunch that I want to become a psychotherapist, and the next day you go and sign up for a course. I mean, for some people it works that way. Some people just have that certainty and that gut feeling, and sometimes it works. Sometimes you have to follow it, but you can only do it if you already know yourself, if you know from experience that, okay, this is the kind of gut feeling that you need to follow, and this is the kind of gut feeling that will lead me down the wrong path, right? So instead of doing that, like making a huge investment that will cost you time, money, especially money and energy, and maybe even like put you into debt, what you could do instead is you take a short course, or you try and read up more about psychology. One example that I once gave is try and pull up a psychology research paper and try and read that. I mean, many people are very interested in psychology, but when it gets to research papers, to statistics, then all of a sudden they're like, oh no, I don't want to have anything to do with that. But that is a part of psychology as well, right? Statistics, experiments, and so on. So rather than making this one big time decision, start with things that are a small investment, like this podcast, for example. I mean, what could possibly go wrong here? I record this podcast, this video podcast, and maybe it sucks. Maybe no one wants to watch it. But then, okay, what do I have to lose? I mean, at least I've tried it. I put myself out there. And if it doesn't work, I can either stop it, or the next time I just do things differently and I try to improve if I really love doing it. So there's either way, I would say there's almost no risk. The risk is much larger if I had decided not to do it. If I told myself, okay, this is not gonna work, just don't do it. But then I'll still have it like in the back of my head for years and years to come. And someday it will come back and bite me. Like 5 years or 10 years from now, I will think, didn't once I had this idea of starting a podcast, but why in the world did I not do it? Like what held me back?